much more than what we got, and we need a chance to say, let's make a change for the better. No more excuses and no more lies. Let's make a change for the better, for the better.
Welcome to Educarte's Artists of Prince George's County, featuring Amy K Gorman and Ceylon Mitchell. My name is Pablo Regis de Oliveira. This program is part of Educarte's 2020 virtual performance series. Educarte is a cultural arts education nonprofit organization that builds communities by connecting artists and audiences. Educarte creates engaging performances and conversations and educational programming that highlight the value of cultural expression. To learn more, visit our website at educarteinc.org, where we have more information about programming. But let's bring on our guests. We have first Ceylon Mitchell. He's a flutist, arts entrepreneur, educator, and arts advocate in the Washington, D.C. metro area. His mission is keeping classical music alive, authentic, and accessible with programming and performances that promote traditionally marginalized communities, especially Black and Latinx cultural identities. Originally from Alaska, this new dad is currently a Doctor of Musical Arts student at the University of Maryland, College Park. Recent accomplishments include the Strathmore Artist in Residence, a Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council Artist Fellowship Grant, and a 2018 Prince George's County 40 Under 40 Award in Arts and Humanities. Secondly, we have Amy K Gorman is a pianist and vocalist and composer known for her fearless, freewheeling style and dedication to creating new music. To collaborate with and celebrate women's musicians, she started the annual Washington Women in Jazz Festival in 2011, directing, financing, and performing in an annual festival and women-focused events throughout the year in the DC area. As an advocate for and stakeholder in DC's unique jazz scene, she co-hosts a weekly radio show on WPFW 89.3 FM, Jazz Stories WPFW, featuring interviews and music. So welcome to our guests.
Hey.
Thanks, Pablo.
Trying to hang out with this famous guy over here.
It's mutual to you, famous lady.
Well, it's great to have both of you here. I'm very happy to share with everyone else that, you know, the work I've luckily I know you because we're all living in Prince George's County, and I have an opportunity to play with Ceylon and meet up with Amy and see her events. So this is great. I want to let's instead of going right into conversation, why don't we show a music clip? Can we show a video of that beautiful song that we open with? Amy, can you just tell us a little bit about the piece?
Sure, yeah. This is Let's Make a Change, and I wrote it for DC Arts All Night. So Arts All Night is, you know, normally they go all night, have a festival, and you go to different places in DC, but this year they did it all online. So they asked me to do something and to write something, so I wanted to write something that, you know, as the season is shifting and changing, and we're thinking about the election coming up, and we're thinking about being at home and this huge change that has come across everybody, how we can use that to project a better future for us. So this is I made it in my kitchen, and my husband Matt Devendorf recorded it for me, and I think it sounds pretty good. So
all right, well, let's check it out.
Making it happen.
Yeah.
time we need a chance to say, let's make a change for the better. No more excuses and no more lies. Let's make a change for the better, for the better. Ooh, truth hurts, but we are strong enough to listen to reason, to science, not our stubborn fears. Now is not the time to play the fool, blind to the inequity. Just think of what we could be. Let's make a change for the better. No more excuses and no more lies. Let's make a change for the better, for the better. Let's make a change for the better. No more excuses and lies. Let's make a change for the better, for the better. Let's make a change. Let's make a change. No more excuses and no more lies. Let's make a change for the better. Think of what we could be. What we could be. What we could be.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, that's
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thanks so
Beautiful.
much.
Fantastic. So I want to remind everyone, I think on behalf of Oz, but also Educartes, please get out and vote. You know, we need to be prepared to do that, and you got to get ready for it. So a friendly reminder to everyone, especially all our friends here in Prince George's County. And I thank you to Tatiana and Chris Stiles who are sending messages. We appreciate that, showing the love here to the artists. Let's also, before we start talking even more, let's give a taste now of Ceylon's work. Do you want to give just a brief intro of the clip we're going to show?
Yeah, absolutely. So last year I was fortunate to get my first grant. It was artist fellowship grant through the Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council. And so through this grant, basically what I wanted to do was just do a concert series at different venues in the county. So this little promo video is a snapshot of music by Latinx composers from Puerto Rico, Brazil, and Cuba. So it's a little bit of a cross genre between classical and popular. So hope you guys enjoy.
All right. right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Gracias.
Very cool.
Oh,
Hey,
man,
who was that guy?
remember people?
Yeah, who was that guy?
Great.
Who was that guy playing that cavaquinho? He looks familiar.
I don't know, but he definitely got a haircut. I know that. Yeah, well, why don't you tell us a little bit, Ceylon, about sort of some of the projects that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I mean, so ideally, shout out to National Hispanic / Latinx Heritage Month that we're in right now, because this is the same exact time last year when I did these performances throughout the county. Actually, we did some outside of the county too, during the same period. But really, what I was hoping to do, if COVID wasn't happening, hey Johnny, if COVID wasn't happening, my plan was to bring back the gang and do more of these concerts in Prince George's, but outside as well. We got some inquiries to do it in Silver Spring at a local church as part of their series. Also the local community college in Prince George's County. So there are a lot of people who were really excited to bring us and to share the wealth and to share this great music. Unfortunately, now with COVID, some things have been kind of switched around. So what's happening right now as far as that particular project is kind of pivoting to making virtual videos, basically us filming our parts remotely. Pablo, I'm still waiting on your part. Call out. It's all good. Yeah, so basically pivoting to just making these virtual recordings, still having more or less the same people in rotation, so that we can still share this great stuff, be able to monetize it, obviously, but really to make sure to get this music gets in front of a wider audience now. So that's one of the positives of having COVID. So we'll share soon one of the Brazilian choros that is currently in development right now, that I enjoyed playing on these concerts last year, but now it'll be fun to do it in sort of a virtual fashion. In addition to that, that's a lot of this sort of Latin American classical as well as popular music is really what I'm focusing on as part of my DMA. And also what I'm focusing on as part of my Strathmore Artist in Residence. So I'm really excited to, have these opportunities to be able to workshop in Woodshed and be able to just find more of these pieces and to be able to uplift a lot of these composers whose great work has been written, again, across genres, so classical, jazz, Latin jazz, etc. So
yeah, what are you working on at Strathmore Artist in Residence? Has a program started?
Yeah, actually, we're going to be filming next week for that. So that's really exciting. And our Fresh Air concert is our first concert that we're going to do. It's going to be virtual Fresh Air. And so what's going to happen with that is it's going to be aired Wednesday, November 18th. However, we're going to pre-record it next week, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Basically, there's 6 of us. We have Ellington on jazz piano, Shada on vocals, me, Aaron Freeman on basses, Rui, she's a Chinese ethnic singer-songwriter, and Becky Hill on percussive dance. So really looking forward to doing that. And I'll share the link so that you guys can be able to make sure that folks know, so that you guys can really come and support it, because it's really cool stuff that we're doing, both sort of pre-recorded, but as well as we're going to be doing the filming on the Strathmore stage. So that's really exciting.
So it's free and open to everyone to come see online?
Let me just double check. It does cost not much. It's very, so not free, but very affordable. Yeah, between 15 to 50. So basically, pay what you can between those parameters.
I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I want to share. I think I mentioned it, but you and your wonderful wife, they just had a baby.
Yes.
Is that right? So how's performing and doing a PhD in music at DMA and being productive as an artist? How's that?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, I couldn't do all these things if it wasn't for my wonderful wife, who helps me kind of keep sane with all these things and keeps my head on straight. So, I mean, to answer your question, Pablo, really, it comes down to what my 4th grade teacher told me is quality, not quantity. So, basically what you just outlined is like my core in like life right now. It's like the family, it's the doctorate right now, and it's obviously raising the baby. Salon the third, and then this Strathmore thing. So, I've done a lot of things. I've been really active and very busy in arts advocacy, art admin, and a couple of other things too. So, I still stay active in those areas, but I just kind of like tone it down a little bit so I can kind of divert my time and energy elsewhere. And I live by my Google Calendar, which is color coded like crazy. So
You gotta stay organized.
yeah.
So a lot, I mentioned in the beginning too, but most people probably aren't aware, at least the Educarte and some Edu audience, that Amy founded and leads the Watch Women in Jazz Festival, which is a beautiful, fantastic festival.
Oh, thank you. I got my shirt on. Hold on.
Oh, that's
Washington,
nice.
yeah. I'll just bring it into the camera.
Yes,
so I don't wear
branding.
it.
I love it.
Do we have
Yeah,
any of those
you know,
pictures in the back?
Say again?
Do we have any of those pictures?
Oh, the
Kate, you
t-shirts?
might know.
I might have sent
We
you
do
one,
a
but
pull
I
up
can't
if we
remember.
don't.
Yeah, I've been hawking t-shirts in lieu of a. Oh, there it is.
Nice.
Look at that. Glam rock. Same
Absolutely.
lipstick,
Love it.
better hair, slightly better hair. I don't know. It's coming together.
So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about the festival and sort of how you built it and came along, and then we can talk about what you're doing now, because that's the big question.
Yeah, what is the big question, the eternal question of COVID? Yeah, so the festival I started 10 years ago, which is crazy. It makes me feel old, but I had just finished school at Howard University. I got my master's degree, and I was like really raring to go. I had all these ideas. I had all these things I wanted to do, and I had been doing, and I took my band that I from was people I was playing with at Howard, and we put out a record. And then I was promoting my record, which everyone knows is terrible and really hard to get any traction. So I was trying to do it all myself and trying to book gigs anywhere for anything. And so I started looking up like, well, who's playing at these festivals and who's playing at this and who, where does my music fit into this and how can I find something that makes sense with me, HU, And so find something that makes sense with the kind of music that I want to do, because even within jazz, there's smaller categories of things. That is it a smooth jazz thing? Is it is it more like jazz hip hop combined? Is it old school jazz, like nostalgic sort of hard bop jazz? So there's all these things that you have to consider. So upon looking at at these festivals, I was like, there's no women playing at them. Like there was some singers, women singers. I love women singers. Great, but there was no women instrumentalists. And I finished my second year of grad school at Howard. I finished with a residency at the Kennedy Center with Betty Carter Jazz Ahead, which is like a jazz composing performing residency. And I was the only woman instrumentalist, and the other two women were singers. And so it just made me, I had spent all of this time, if anyone knows anything about Howard, they know about Afro Blue. I had spent all this time around Afro Blue and like all these women who were super supportive of each other and like just incredible and talking about the music and talking about all of it. And then I went from that space into like this space of like just being surrounded by men, which is great. I love men, but dear God. And so I really wanted to have something where I could cultivate my relationships with professional women musicians, where I could form mentorships and I could, across the generations, bring up younger musicians. I work with Washington Jazz Arts Institute. It's a program run by Davey Yarborough that has free jazz training for 14 to 21-year-olds. So, being able to be a mentor, but also be mentored, to teach older cats about social media, but also understand that their history and their stories and the way that they've structured their careers, and create that trade-off. So what I did to have that become something was I booked myself a bunch of gigs playing with women.
Yeah.
And the gloriousness of Twins Jazz, the only woman-owned jazz club in DC at the time, and now unfortunately has closed this past year after 30 plus years of being in business. Kelly at Twins, one of the twins, she offered me several nights in a row. So I booked this out, and I made every show. I had two women that were highlighted, and one was a vocalist and one was an instrumentalist. So the trick is with DC jazz, everybody loves vocals. So I pulled them in with the vocals, and I made them stick around for some trombone.
Trick them.
And, yeah, exactly. I tricked them. They were fine with it. And then it was sort of creating a community. I played for a lot of singers, and I didn't see a lot of other women that were playing for singers, and there's a lot of gigs for that. So it created a community where these singers were suddenly like, oh, this is cool. I can have a woman bass player, and I can have a woman drummer, and I can have, a woman saxophone player with my band, and bring that up. And created this resurgence of a network for women musicians in DC. And then from there, I only expanded. I had to find bigger places because people loved it. It sold out. We got press in the Washington Post. We got called the best festival of the city in the Washington City paper. So I just had to find bigger stuff. So people started coming to me, and I have, from growing up in DC and spending so much time here, I had a lot of connections to different venues. So I, did stuff at the Atlas, and I did stuff at the Kennedy Center, and I did stuff everywhere. And it's just gotten bigger and bigger every year. We've put in a lot more educational components, a lot of business workshops, networking events. The jam sessions have been hugely popular.
Wow.
And it's been so rewarding to see women showing up, and then men showing up and supporting them, and to see how much support has come for Washington Women in Jazz, and for me as a woman musician in DC. It's given me a lot of opportunity to travel. I've brought women from different countries to play at embassies because we're special here, and we have these embassies, and they want to have concerts, and so I bring them here to DC, and we play a concert here, and then I'll go back and take my band, to their country. Hi, Patrick, and take my band to Sweden, and we went to Sweden for 2 weeks and played at a Swedish Women in Jazz festival that I helped organize, and it's just been really, really great way for me to build a career around an issue that I really care about, which is representation in music. And spending so much time in DC it's so inspiring, and especially being at Howard and seeing what is created. Howard is created as a space centering Blackness, and I wonder what was that space where we could center women in jazz, where we could center women musicians, because they weren't being seen in the music scene the way that they needed to be. That they were just under the radar of what was happening in the press, and what was happening broader on all the jazz festivals. So now people are taking the artists that I had on my festival before they were on other festivals, and now they're on the DC Jazz Festival, and now they're on performing here, performing there, and just being able to see this growth of what was underground musicians now turning into people who are getting more credit. And obviously what we've seen over the last couple of years with Me Too, and people changing their focus and understanding all of the issues that we have within the music community for women, and that women aren't being cared about, and that across the board we have all sorts of issues that are happening to not focus on them, or not make them important, or to devalue what they are doing, when in the truth is that women are the ones who are organizing a lot of the events.
Yeah.
Women are the ones who are running the performing arts centers. Women are the ones who are making everything happen. If you ask any musician who is behind the scenes, it's women getting it done. So
I noticed that too when I went to
great.
organization. I've noticed that at, for example, places like Strathmore, Smithsonian, Center for Folk Life. There's a lot of great women doing these events. Why do you think that there's not more women actually performing at them?
I think it's systemic. I think it's the way that we discourage women from the very beginning to be musicians. We discourage women from taking risk. So where what is the fun of being a musician if you can't take any risk? We discourage women from speaking out, being loud. Yeah. How are you going to practice if you can't be loud? So that's from the very foundation. I have a good friend, Dr. Carla Scott, who put on her Instagram today, was like, what is the reason you don't practice every day? And the top reason that people listed was that they were afraid of people hearing them. And it's all, it's mostly singers that are on this Instagram page. So, it's so consistent is that we don't create space for women, and then we wonder why women aren't in the space.
Well, I just want to say thank you. This is reminding us that we have a woman producing the show right now, Kate Spanos.
Kate! She knows.
Yeah, Kate.
She knows what I'm talking about.
So, but that's
making it happen.
I was talking to I was interviewing actually a friend, Allison Rod, and she's one of the leaders for the group Batala. It's an all-female professional.
Yeah, of course. So
and
good.
She mentioned the same thing. She said that women are discouraged, especially from doing music, but especially from playing like the drums.
Yeah, it's too loud.
It's hard for people to be able to do this music, and that's one of the reasons why it causes a big impression when you see all these women that are playing fantastically and happy and having their personality out there.
Yeah, it's so true. And the reality is, women are discouraged from shining. We're just like, okay, go over there and whatever, make me a sandwich. And in reality, we have to step into it. And so for me, one of the things that I've been really trying to be aware of is being able to bring up other women onto the stage and onto the spotlight. And it's been so rewarding to just see them shine and be highlighted and get written up in the paper and have beautiful photos taken and have it recorded and put up on a website and promoted properly and interviewed on the radio and all these things that have been so rewarding for me as an artist and for all of us as artists. That's what we need to do, is to create those experiences for other people so that we can create equity in our music scene.
Yeah, I think we have a unique group here because the two of you are not only great performers, but you're also like entrepreneurs, call it what you will. Like you make, like there's not a festival for women, you go ahead and make it happen. And both of you, and I, honestly myself too, as a performer and as sort of an arts administrator. Ceylon, same thing. He has become very successful too, and he has maybe I'll let him talk about it, but what his approach to success, I think, coincides very well with this, where you're collaborating and creating the opportunities that aren't there. Maybe Ceylon, you want to share a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking, as sort of prep for this wonderful talk, I was kind of thinking with COVID, like, how have I been getting through the pandemic? Like, what have kind of been sort of the like main pillars that kind of keep me grounded, right? And some alliteration for you. Really, I think about creativity. Like, you really have to kind of dig inward and really kind of rediscover, like, why are you doing this? Because sometimes we kind of just do it because there's an audience there that just shows up, and we kind of get into the routine. But if we don't kind of figure out what is our real mission, like our why of why we're doing that, then that can keep us from kind of reaching our potential and finding new ways to be creative. You may find that you've kind of been in a bubble in a box, in the genre or instrument, but there's no reason why you shouldn't break out into a different genre or even learn a second instrument. There's just no reason. Like, I'm like on the sly, like, don't tell Lucas, but I'm like learning a cajon drum right now. Like, I'm just like, hey, it's like, why not? There's no reason to only play one instrument or to only stick to one genre, so creativity is key, and just find ways to just branch out and to, be whatever musician that you're truly meant to be, and don't feel pigeonholed. I can just speak that, with being in school, sometimes you can kind of feel like they're putting you down a certain path, but if you really find that you do what you love, then that's great. And then collaboration, like you said, Pablo, I mean, COVID is showing us you cannot be on an island, you cannot be a hermit, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert like me. Like, you gotta just find ways to allow people to showcase what you're doing and showcase their stuff and build relationships. It's so important, and it's how we as musicians, we as artists are going to be sustainable, is by leveraging all the great work that we're all doing, just like we're doing right now in this talk, is by showcasing and uplifting all that we're doing and making folks aware, because what we're doing right now could be inspiring to up and coming young musicians, our own peers who are learning about all the things that we're doing, and then we can find ways to collaborate and do more projects that are going to, one, benefit our communities, but also provide monetization points for us too. And then thirdly, lastly, communication. I find that you know, us artist folks, you know, we get trained to hone the craft, right? But
Yeah.
we don't always get trained or taught how to think about who is our audience, you know, how are we going to communicate to them, what is marketing, what are touch points, like how are we going to make sure that this great art that we've, you know, spent so many hours putting together and that we've been, you know, collaborating with, how are we going to make sure that folks actually are aware of it, will actually show up, whether it's in person or in a digital manner. So like that's, you know, again, creativity, collaboration, and communication really, I think, are just the things that are really important. They've always been important, but you know, those are really what we have to lean upon right now. And then, entrepreneurial, you know, you're mentioning Pablo. I do have not just my flutist, my musician LLC, but I do have an LLC outside of that that's also in media production and digital marketing consulting. And so when COVID hit in, you know, late spring, and it was really kind of at the height during the summer, and there really was like no performing at all. Like the most I was doing was like teaching lessons. You know, I found that what I was doing entrepreneurially wise with my LLC, it's called M3 Mitchell Media and Marketing. I was getting called upon through some of the relationships that I had built and some referrals. I was doing a lot of artist talks and artist workshops for individuals and also for smaller arts organizations, really on sort of how to make sure that they are being savvy around digital marketing and making sure that their programming as well as their workshops for the constituents are actually getting to their audiences. So that was another income stream for me, and it's been that way right now. And right now I'm on the production standpoint. I'm actually producing a dear friend. We all know Elizabeth Hill.
Yeah.
Wonderful pianist.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kate, I don't know if you got any of those photos, but I haven't even had a chance to put them on. Yeah, I haven't even had a chance to put them on social media yet, but I did a nice little multi-cam shoot for her. She has an awesome recital that she's promoting right now called Rising, I believe. So you guys should check out her stuff.
Fantastic performer.
Yeah, she's amazing. Like, you know, she's definitely one of the first people who I call up. So it's a pleasure to be able to listen to all of her takes and to be able to, you know, create a nice product for her. But again, you know, we got to just find ways to create the multiple income streams, be entrepreneurial. Like someone said in the chat, like you can't neglect the business side of things. And you can't be, my opinion, you can't be dependent on, you know, 5 other people. I love my arts administrators, but sometimes artists, we got to make sure that we are being a little bit more, taking a little bit more ownership of the business side of things and not just waiting for someone else to sort of guide us through. And all we do is walk on stage and walk off.
Yeah, you know, I think that's something all 3 of us have done, and the same way. I didn't see enough of the type of Brazilian music events that I wanted to see in town. They would all go to New York or whatever, so I just created it. But I took inspiration from other people. You know, I learned from, for example, from you guys. I sat down with Amy once and talked to her about how she did her thing, and Ceylon, you and I have been playing music and hanging out for years now. And
you and your posse, man, you guys got me into Brazilian music. I still remember that Carmen Miranda musical. That was my initiation into the world of Brazil, and it's been
that's right. Shout out to Pointless Theater, by the way.
Exactly, Pointless Theater. Yeah, no, and Patricia Vergara, I remember she's a music director. Like that was really cool. Like I had never played show music before, you know, much less samba. So it was just like, what? Like my mind's blown. So
yeah.
You know, so all the things that you're doing, Pablo, and bringing these amazing artists, it's definitely a wealth of information and knowledge and just fun for the community.
Thank you. Well, let's play some music so people can enjoy some more of the work you do. Amy, what do you want to show next?
Yeah, I guess Surreal McCoy. I wrote this. McCoy Diner died right in the early spring, and he is one of my favorite pianists of all time. And I had this really trippy experience where he came and played at the Kennedy Center, and I got to play Rhodes keyboard behind him, and it was so strange. And I still think about it, and I was like, man, did that really happen? Because that was odd. And then I was backstage watching him, and sitting next to me was the amazing pianist Jerry Allen, and she's gone now too. And I had this crazy dream about that, sort of just being in that space. And so many people were having really strange dreams right when the shutdown started. I think everybody kind of had this really bizarre inner life that was happening, and so I was inspired to write this piece as a tribute to McCoy Tyner, but also Jerry Allen, but also weird dreams. So it's called.
Let me just mention briefly. If anyone watching the show wants to donate to these artists, to Salon or Amy, Kate's going to put up a donation page, and you don't have to decide which one you like more. You just donate it, and we'll just divvy out equally with the artists the donations. And
that's fine. We just battle at the end. It's like Hunger Games.
We have the two of you wrestle.
This is you're up here. Punch up. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's enjoy Surreal McCoy.
Take 5.
Wow, that was amazing. Beautiful.
Thank
Bravo.
you. You know, there's nothing like those anxiety dreams to get you going. Keep you active. It's like midnight coffee, you know?
And Ann Kennedy said she loved the camera work, but we didn't do that. So was that Matt, Amy, that was recording everything?
That was just me.
Wow.
He recorded the sound and did the mixing and the mastering, and I just set up cameras and then I cut them myself.
Well, you're getting accolades for it now, so.
Hey, I'll take it, you know? I'm available. Hire me.
Amy, that's impressive. Obviously, we've heard about musicians hitting the camera and then sitting down, but you hit like 3 cameras and then you sit.
That's the way to go. That's the only
That's
way
impressive.
to go. Yeah. You know,
So Salon, why don't you introduce a clip for us too?
Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously earlier again, I was talking about, music from Cuba, Brazil, Puerto Rico. Right now, again, paying homage to Pablo and the guys for putting me on to the music of Brazil. One of the pieces that I've really enjoyed learning, one of the choro tunes in specific, is called Uma Zero, or One to Nothing. And the story behind this, as I've been told and taught, is well, first of all, it's written by an amazing Afro-Brazilian composer, flutist, saxophonist. His nickname, who he's known for, is Pixinguinha. And he has basically revolutionized Brazilian choro music, like, for all time. He's probably one of the most influential composers for just preserving it in the 20th century. So just, everyone should definitely look him up. But this is one of his probably more popular choro tunes. And this particular tune, again, Uma Zero, One to Nothing, it basically memorializes the 1919 World Cup final between Brazil and Uruguay, that Brazil won 1-0, and it's the first international title ever for the country. So it has a lot of special significance for the country, but also for me, because I'm a huge soccer fan. So this is like a win-win for me to get to be able to play this. Yeah, I mean, I played all the way from high school to college. So this is like sort of like the art imitating life in a sense. But really one of the hallmarks, I can say more after the piece, but it's definitely, choro music is no cakewalk. It definitely is challenging. It definitely, there's a lot of intense passage work, and sometimes for the audience it sounds like a party on the other side, but the musicians are sweating and those fingers are moving. So that being said, let's take a listen to just a little clip. This is going back to what I talked about, pivoting to virtual choros and working in this COVID era. So enjoy a little clip of Uma Zero.
dancing here.
I got my hairs all messed up. I was like, yes.
All we need is the samba dancers out here, right?
Yeah, that's
There it
on
is.
fire.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
So I lied. It wasn't a clip. You guys got to hear the whole thing, but it is a work in progress because we're gonna add a 7-string guitar line, and then we're gonna add Pablo on.
I have
Of course,
right in the back there. It's gonna get music.
Yeah, man. We're just waiting for you to hop on the track. So
we got a question. I don't. Have you guys ever collaborated? Tatiana was asking. You guys ever played together before?
We played at my house, Pablo. You were there.
Oh, that's right. Well, I mean, you know, we jammed.
We jammed at the house. I'm waiting for the gig.
I know.
Amy, I would love to jam with you at some point. I know you're busy. You're really in demand. So whenever I can fit into your schedule,
people's schedules have opened up now.
Yeah.
All right,
we'll
tomorrow.
Let's talk about that. So it's obviously the elephant in the room. Like Ceylon, how have you been maintaining sort of your self-care and your practice? You already told us a little bit about how you're pivoting and whatnot, but tell us like what that's been like for you.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's thanks.
Yeah, we would love to see it.
I would love to see that too. So it's a date. But yeah, I mean, it's been tough, with really kind of what I've been fortunate, to be able to do is to kind of just like double down on education, which I love, so like not just performing, but also kind of teaching and finding ways to be able to use this virtual platform that we all have now to be able to mentor and uplift other flutists, but just other musicians who are up and coming, and to be able to share stories. And quick side note, I'm actually in the process of being on board with starting a festival that's by and for flutists of African descent. So yeah, I mean, like that's so now in this COVID time, it's a perfect time for us to be able to come together and have that solidarity and strength, and be able to put something that can really make sure that we are benefiting those who come before us and sharing the stories and the experiences and the knowledge and all that stuff that we've gained. But as far as trying to find ways to make sure that keeping up a thriving artist life, it's only just now kind of starting to pick up a little bit. The summer was definitely tough. Fortunately now, Kate, I don't know if you have the picture, but I did last week, for the first time, I think, since COVID really hit, kind of really live. Oh, wait, not that. Well, yeah, it's a photo. Yeah, here we go. So I did a composer wrote this piece, and so she asked me, and the lovely Carrie Hollahan there, coloratura soprano, she wrote a piece. It's all good, Kate. She wrote a piece for flute and soprano, and it has a lot of sort of quotations from Beethoven and things of that sort. And so what she did was she wrote the piece. Her and Carrie connected. They were looking for a flutist. Carrie and I have known each other through various circles in the arts world. And so we met, actually, this composer, Harriet Katz. She lives in a senior community in Pikesville, Maryland, right outside of Baltimore. So this is actually in sort of the little park area in the center of the establishment. So we got together, we had our mask on up until it was time to record. We had our spacing, we had a professional videographer there. Name is Dinesh, who's amazing. Set up the mics, did the thing. And so right now, we're excitedly waiting for that to come out. But for Carrie and I, that was, a nice little compensation right there. So these things are starting to pick up. Folks are finding ways safely, keyword safely, to be able to find ways for us still to make music, to still have chamber music, still be able to collaborate, and to still be able to put new music out there. So I think, I think we're past the darkest days of that stuff. And there's definitely ways for performances to happen. And then, like I said, education-wise, I teach with the local, we don't have to show the clip, but I teach with the local youth orchestra in Montgomery County as their flute choir director. So what I've been helping them do is the same things that I've been kind of working through myself, is creating these virtual videos and finding ways to layer video tracks, audio tracks, learn how to be able to make, take care of balance and, finding ways to make sure that it's a decent product that they can still feel proud of, even though they can't get together and still rehearse in the rooms, just like us, right? So providing them with relevant experiences and relevant education that can make them still see that music is still thriving and it's still happening and music hasn't been canceled, even though the venues and some of the actual traditional gigs have been canceled.
Yeah, I find this has been a great opportunity for, out of what's been happening, to connect to more people that we have in our area where we have more free time, like I said, but it's also opportunity to engage in conversations and see collaborations. I found that it's been a great way to meet more people and to also even build some stronger connections with people that I just didn't have or they didn't have time to talk to before. So
yeah, I think I think COVID is kind of being like teaching us to not be so busy, so we can make time for these meaningful connections.
And Amy, I mean, there's so much to talk about with you. I mean, you're also an activist. You've been working to sort of save jazz venues and help other artists, and you also, you have this festival coming up, and like, what's going to happen there? Maybe you want to talk a little bit about those two things?
Sure. Yeah. Shout out to Capitol Hill Jazz Foundation, Aaron Myers, Herb Scott, Listen Local First, Chris Noam, all those cats, they really are pushing, and really Jamie Sandel, Capital Bop. We are so just magically blessed here in DC to have the kinds of organizations that we have that support musicians here. And it's been an interesting time because I do feel like there's been a twofold pivot. Like a lot of us are thinking, okay, now how do I reach audiences that I'm not in the same locality? I work in LA, I work in Michigan a lot. I went to University of Michigan for undergrad. I worked in Sweden. I've been there 3 times now. I spent some time studying in India, and just this last February I was in Thailand. And how do I keep those engagements alive now that everything is online? I'm spending a lot of time. I'm spending a lot of time on Instagram with Brazilian musicians. Brazilian musicians love Instagram Live. Oh my God!
Portuguese, I might add.
Yeah, it's so much bad Portuguese going down. If anyone wants to tune into my Instagram Live and hear me just destroy grammar, I am.
If anyone wants tips on great Brazilian Netflix shows, they should contact Amy directly because she can give you in-depth reviews.
I can rank them for you.
Yeah.
Which one will have the most violence? I don't watch any of the violent ones, so mostly it's just the rom-coms and the the reality TV shows. They're really bad. But Kate knows. She watched 3%. 3%. Yeah, but just how we can reconnect globally, but then also at the same time the area is really supporting locally, because they don't want to see everything disappear. So how we can engage our base of community here, but then also for me, how I can set foundations for other places that I know. I'm obsessed with traveling, so I know I want to go back to Brazil. I've been twice already, and I want to go a million more times. I'd love to go every year and just hang out with musicians and people and eat food, and it's you already know. But
talk to Chris Styles, he goes every year.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm like gearing up for, right?
Yeah.
So so I love going there. I spent a lot of time in India. We're going together. You know it. You already know it.
So
vamos embora. But
you were doing a collaboration with was it South African or jazz artist, female artist?
Yeah. So
and you were talking about doing it for this year's festival, right? Which I don't know.
I am. So that isn't going to be technically for the festival. I mean, it's all Washington women in jazz at this point. But what is the internet? What is a festival? I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody else will have to tell me and let me know whether or not I am doing either of those things. Yeah, they're all coming together. Vamos embora. So I'm working on a project with my friend Patricia Lopez, who's a wonderful saxophonist in Uruguay, and she has an organization called Worldwide Saxophone Alliance. So we're creating together worldwide women in jazz. So put them together. I love to put things together. My band is me and my friend Anna, and so our band is just called Amy Anna. I love to put things together. So this Worldwide Women in Jazz, and we're gonna have several conversations, kind of like this format, where we're playing music, but we're also talking about people's careers and highlighting people and spotlighting people, with the idea that then we have networks building of women jazz musicians, who are, not just Esperanza Spalding and Terry Lynn Carrington, who are getting gigs and being on these national stages, but also people who are promoting and booking locally, and having those lines of communication open so that, if I want to go and travel and work in South Africa and Botswana and Thailand and Korea and India and Italy and Austria and Sweden and Brazil and Uruguay and Argentina and Chile, all these women are a part of this online series. So we'll have these types of discussions and see what they are doing, because a lot of times that we think we need to create something new, in reality we just need to amplify what somebody else is doing, and add our weight to that. So and that kind of gets me back to Capitol Hill Jazz Foundation, which is just doing really awesome things for the DC music community, not just the jazz community. Not only emergency grant funding and getting funds out to musicians as they need them, but also having these weekly meetups, so that people can discuss, it's all a lot of the venue owners and the musicians and Chuck Levins and recording studios and city council candidates and just all sorts of things are happening in that space. So if any other musicians are out there and want to connect, Aaron Myers is definitely the person you want to see, because he's been spearheading that effort to really create this space so that the lines of communication are open, and it's better than it ever was for communication.
Right.
Because everybody's at home and everybody is desperate for optimism and news and connection, and the things that we had organically and naturally in the scene, we have to now try for. So that's the way to go. Oh man, Makake, they're so good. She's the jam. Yeah, that's that good Cuban music. I haven't even been to Cuba. Like, that should be on the agenda. So all I want to do is travel. I think that's really what it comes down to. Is like, when this is over, I'm just like,
how you can travel, but you also create opportunities for women who are traveling and musicians to also perform here. It's like it's two-way street.
It's been so great to connect with embassies, because the embassies want to support something. And a lot of times, the smaller embassies, the smaller countries, they have less budget and they can't support like bringing a whole band. And so I'm like, hey, let's set this up. We can have it as part of this series, and you can bring one artist, and we can support that. We can accompany them and highlight them. And then, I had this year we were supposed to have 2 artists from Italy come, and unfortunately they're not, they didn't come. But I'm hoping next year we'll be able to do that. But 2 years ago we had a bassist from Austria come, Judith Firstel, and she was amazing, and she hung out for the week, and then the embassy is getting her here and putting her up and paying her artist fees, and then she was hanging out with me the whole week. So we did a live radio show, we did the emerging artist showcase, and she got to play for younger college musicians and work with them and talk to them, and then we did a concert at the embassy, and I just sort of took her everywhere, and we did a workshop, and we did, it was great to have that connection with a lot of musicians who don't often, as local, as more regional musicians, we don't get to travel, but that doesn't mean that our music is not worthy of being experienced by people in different places. And I think it's almost more worthy because we are soaked in our identity. I know a lot about DC and a lot about DC music. And when I go somewhere, I'm always representing DC. People think I'm representing America. That's too much pressure. I'm always representing DC, and I'm always talking about Duke Ellington, and I'm always talking about go-go. So it ends up being a really compelling conversation, not only to get to know somebody else's culture and somebody else's music, but to share that and then bring it back with you to DC. And I think it's one of the things that makes this area so fantastic is how much is going on internationally, and the way we can bring art into that space.
Wow, this is so exciting to talk to both of you and learn about things that you're doing. It gives us, I think, all of us a little more inspiration, because at times we all get nervous and anxious being at home, you know.
Not me. I just eat. So I went to my doctor's appointment there this week, and my doctor was like, "You gained 6 pounds. You should probably not eat cake." And I was like, "Why are you trying to take cake away from me at this time? At this moment?"
You know what? Just go over to zucchini bread. It's fine.
It's gonna be
bread,
great.
Right?
It's gonna be great.
Carbs, Pablo.
They're so good. They're so yummy. So I'm just baking my way through this. Bake my way through anxiety.
Here you go. Well,
Yeah,
so we're close.
I do want to mention, but while we're on the topic, is that GW in partnership with 202 Creates, the DC Cultural Society. They are offering free counseling. So if anybody needs information on that, it's on the 202 Creates website.
For artists or for the general?
For creatives.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
great. So can you say that again? What is
Yeah, 202 Creates, and they're partnering with the George Washington University, the counseling program there.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Creates.
Kate's on it. Kate knows what's up. She's like Google.
Kate's amazing. Kate's the president of the organization, so, and she's
Yeah.
a fantastic dancer and performer as well. So, and scholar.
We got to do it all.
Women can do it all. They don't need us alone. We all do stuff together.
Exactly. That's the kind of attitude.
Well, we're slowly coming towards the end. Is there, Ceylon, or Amy, do you have any messages you want to share, or with us or the public or anything? No pressure. It's just
Man, I have to say,
the entire world. No pressure.
Just everybody. Yeah, I mean, this is now, it's such a strange time because this is a voting season. This isn't like the voting day. Everybody's like, don't forget to vote. And I think in your brain, you're like, oh, I'm going to vote on voting day. But like, that's already too late, you know? And as musicians, we always talk about on time is too late. So musicians, we get this idea. Like, you're already late to the gig if you're on time. So you need to think in advance how you're going to get your ballot in and how you're going to tell other people they need to get their ballots in, and really take like 5 minutes and look up all the judges and who's running for Board of Education, and just make sure that you actually decide on the local things too. Everybody focuses on the bigger picture things, but the small and local things have a lot more impact, especially when you think about Board of Education, and most of the musicians here are seeing the cuts to arts programs in this area, which is an area that shamefully should not be doing that. Not that any area should be doing it, but we have plenty of money to pay for arts programs in the DMV. So I need just want to make sure that people are stepping up and paying attention right now to more than just the presidential election. In addition to,
you bring up a really good point. Like, we've learned in the pandemic that there's a lot of areas of weakness that we had for arts, but generally also for politics on a local and national level. Now is the time for everyone out there to, first of all, go ahead. I've done it myself. Go ahead and get your ballot. Find out how you can vote, and vote early so you get it done with. And then also inform yourself when you make those decisions. If not now, like, when, it's really important. We're seeing that right now, that, we need to start making some changes and some lifestyle changes.
That's my song. See, this is how I promote myself. Okay, whatever. Y'all can listen to my thing. Oh, and then of course I have all my stuff on strangewomanrecords.com, which my husband Matt Devendorf and I started together last year. So if you want to hear some more music, you can get it all on strangewomanrecords.com, and
the radio program. You're on WPFW.
WPFW is Thursdays from 3 to 5.
So listen live. It's one of the best radio programs. I love that WPFW anyway, and it's great to see that you're on there. I also want to let everyone know Educarte has a lot of programming that's coming up. The next one is Women in Brazilian Song, and it's going to feature Kenya, who's a fantastic artist from Rio. Actually, Lucas Ashby's mother. She lives in Pittsburgh though, and we're also featuring another artist here from Maryland, Allison Crockett, who's a fantastic singer, and they're going to talk about their work. Kenya sings obviously Brazilian bossa nova, but she also sings jazz, and she's Brazilian. Allison is a fantastic singer for American, but she just came out not too long ago with a Brazilian album too. So they're going to share their experiences of being inside different cultures and whatnot. So
Yeah, that album is great, and Allison's been on Washington Women in Jazz Festival, so shout out to her.
great.
She's a not only an amazing performer, but a great educator and
Mhm.
just amazing person.
Absolutely. And Ceylon, can you just remind us again where people can catch you and
Yeah. Well, let me just go off of what Amy was just saying. Like, I completely agree about, making sure that you vote in top down, national to local elections, and kind of just going off of that. Like, I just think that, people just need to make sure that they're paying attention. Like I feel like in the news cycle, we were talking about this in one of my classes actually at Maryland, how like the news cycle moves so fast and we can kind of just get distracted and forget about things. Like amnesia, I feel like is like just like a tool of white supremacy. So it's like you need to like make sure that remember like what just happened last month or 2 months ago, or even last year, instead of just focusing on what's happening right here. And then use your vote, use your voice to make sure that you can actually change those things. In my like message, for folks, I think to the artists, I think, we talked about the business savvy stuff, so that's whatever, but I think uplift and champion Black voices, in your art, whenever possible, in the culture, but for everyone, like just in your office, virtual or whatever, like no matter what field you're in, I just think, Malcolm X said it best, the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. So it's like, I feel like that if we want to actually get somewhere as a society, we have to see who is treated as the least of these. So that's sort of my like universal global advice to everyone.
Great, thank you. And I want to thank everyone for participating, everyone that was watching. Hey, Jose, so good to see you. Thanks for joining us. And please share the video, like our page, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, it helps. And we can put out more conversations like this and have feeling it, and share it so people can learn about Amy, Ceylon, and see more of our programming. And we want to wish everyone a very good night.
Yay, happy election season.
Yeah.
Great to see you guys.
Take care, everybody.
Ciao, ciao.